I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is your News and Week in Review. Although it'll be a very short News and Week in Review, I know I've said that before. I'm guessing we can get this one done in under 15 minutes. Maybe even under 10 if we're really ambitious. We're going to be skipping the news this week and nothing to cover there. And I'm also going to be skipping the creator highlight this past week. As much as I don't want to, I'm just trying to stay ahead of things. If you don't know, this week is the holiday of Sukkot, which means this week and next week, I'm trying to get everything I usually get done, but in less time. So, shorter news and week in review this week. Also, next week is jam-packed full of games. The good news is there'll be less time to play games, just less time filming videos. But either way, let's go ahead and start off, and we should start off with our giveaway winners. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, we did a giveaway for Pax Unplugged. I did a giveaway over on Instagram as well as over here. On YouTube, there are 3 winners. On Instagram, there are 2. Make sure to check out Instagram if you want to see the announcement for the 2 winners there. But for the 3 winners that were on YouTube, those are being announced over here right now. Before I do announce them, just regular reminders, do not give your information to random people who comment. Do not message people on Telegram or WhatsApp who happen to have a name that sounds like Board Game Co, but not actually Board Game Co. Basically, be mindful of scammers, especially people who ask you for money. All communication generally with me will be through alex@boardgameco.com. That'll be email communication from that email, so you make sure you know who you're dealing with. But that said, there are 3 giveaway winners. As usual, I will attempt to go ahead and reply to your comments, but hopefully you're watching these videos. That's the only way to really guarantee. We're going to have 3 winners over here. We had, and I should note, there were 108 comments on that video, and with 3 badges being given away, that's basically, what's the math on that? A 1 in 36 chance of winning, which is not bad, by the way. That's really not bad, and honestly, it's a little higher than that because not all the comments were for the giveaway. Some didn't say PAX, and so they weren't really eligible. So you probably had like a 1 in 34, 1 in 35 chance of winning. But that said, we have 3 winners over here. We have Her Voice Remains. So if you are Her Voice Remains, congratulations. You just won a fully comped pass to PAX Unplugged 2024. Neon underscore Gorilla, which I believe is a channel I've actually shouted out multiple times. Well, not I believe, I know is a channel I've shouted out multiple times in the past, but Neon Gorilla, you won as well. And then we have Justin WH. So Her Voice Remains, Neon Gorilla, and Justin WH. Congrats to all the winners. Please don't give people money. Just not, at least not this time. I don't think there's any costs associated this time, but either way, we can figure this out. Anyways, with that, we're going to go ahead and dive into the week in review. It's just going to be a week in review. Again, we're skipping the news. We're skipping the creator highlight. We're just going to the week in review, which this past week, we had a few videos going up. But first, let's talk about the general videos, and then we'll talk about all the games covered with a little bit of a behind the scenes look at my thoughts and opinions around them. Starting off with the week in review, we have 5 great Board Game Geek tools. This is a video just covering 5 tools or features you can use on Board Game Geek that you may not be aware of. It looks like most people, well, actually, what was the most common comment I got were, I knew about 4 of these, I didn't know you can find gamers near me. So that was something that people didn't know. There were a lot of people who didn't know a bunch of them, and then a handful of people who seem to know all 5 of them. But in case you want more ways to use Board Game Geek, check that out, and I'll probably do another one in the future as soon as I find 4 more ways. And if you're like, why not 5? Because I already have 1 that I want to highlight. Anyways, that's going to be 5 BGG tools. Did that video over on Sunday. On Monday, we had our 2 back or not to back. I am still kind of behind, but starting to feel like I'm catching up on all the crowdfunding campaigns. There's been just so many. Everyone's trying to get their crowdfunding in before the end of the year slows down. So there's been so many crowdfunding campaigns. It has been very, very hard to keep up. Doing my best and slowly being on top of things. Then we had top 10 small box games. On Wednesday, I did a video for top 10 small box games, specifically the 5 games that are small box games that I rate a 5 out of 5. Some amazing, incredible games in there. My top small box games, in fact, was in that video. So if you want to see the best small box games in my collection, there's actually 11. There's 11 of them in that video because I forgot about one when I was doing it. Then on Thursday, I think, we had an interview with Steamforged, a Bardsung interview about Bardsung Return to Forgotten Glade. I think that's what it's called. I don't always remember. But the newest Bardsung game, I did an interview with Sherwin from Steamforged Games, lead designer of the project, to talk about some of the differences, highlights, and all that. In fact, when I'm filming this, which means by the time you're watching this, I may have played Bardsung already, but when I'm filming this, Bardsung just showed up, as well as a few games, honestly. So it's going to be a packed week full of games to play for next week's coverage. Then later on Friday we had 2 videos going up around my Bambu printer. I did a Bambu P1S review. This is a review of my Bambu printer that I've had now for 6 weeks or so. I first talked about it on a live stream like 8 or 9 weeks ago. By the way, also speaking of live streams, I apologize. I forgot to warn all of you that because of the holiday season, I basically haven't had live streams for like 3 weeks, which I feel bad about because I like doing live streams, but I usually do them on Thursday, and that's when all the holidays have been on Thursday. This happens this time of year where you'll have the holidays 3 weeks in a row. You'll basically, well, 3 out of 4 weeks, kind of. It's kind of a week off, a week. You'll have like the same set of days just blacked off. Anyways, point is, no weekend reviews, no weekly lives. But that said, I did a video, a printer review of my Bambu P1S, just talking about how I felt about the printer and the pros and cons and highlights. And then I did a second video later on Friday, just going through a full dialogue of the issues I had with it and some of the troubleshooting steps I took to address those issues. Just in case you are a Bambu printer user or potential buyer, it's worth knowing both the fact that I like the printer overall. I'm a big fan of it. It's made 3D printing so much fun. Even as we speak, there's more things being printed because there's always things being printed now that I have a 3D printer. But also there are some issues, and sometimes you have to troubleshoot things, and it's not all sunny in Philadelphia. It's mostly sunny in Philadelphia. Anyways, those are the videos for the week that were not board game focused. Specifically, speaking of the specific board game, well, they are board game focused, just not specific individual games. Speaking of which, as far as the games we covered this past week, we have several. Starting off with Bad Karmas and the Curse of the Zodiac. I did a gameplay on Saturday for Bad Karmas and the Curse of the Zodiac. Overall, I think I talked about this last week because I think we did a Bad Karmas preview and this, so same thoughts as last week. I like the Bad Karma system. It is not my favorite boss battler. I find the app does take me out of the experience. It makes the rules overhead incredibly easy, but I kind of like knowing what's going on a little bit more. The app-based experience takes me out a bit from it. So Bad Karma's Ghost of Zodiac is a solid LAN party in a box to a certain extent, and also you can play it remotely, which is a nice feature because you can play it in different locations. If you both have Bad Karmas, you can kind of have it on your table playing it, and the app will manage both of your games remotely, which is a cool feature. But again, that said, it's not my favorite boss hunter game. That would probably be Primal, and if I want general dungeon crawl, this is a lot there. Later on Saturday, I did a review for Shuffleboard. The short answer of this one, a short coverage of this, is I gave it a 5 out of 5. I'm a huge fan of my mini Shuffleboard game. I did see someone comment that they're like, oh, I can just get a copy for $40 at on Amazon, I guess. I cannot for a second imagine that the copy you're getting on Amazon is remotely the same feeling as the not cheap version that I have. And again, it's nothing against whatever. I mean, a $40 copy, if you're getting fun and joy out of it, by all means. But I think it's one of those things like Crokinole boards. I've tried $100 Crokinole boards and I've tried $300 Crokinole boards. There is a world of difference between them. Sometimes the premium thing is worth it. I'm not saying it is for you, but I guarantee you the $40 copy on Amazon is not the same. Point is, I'm loving Shuffleboard. I play it nonstop all the time. I'm getting like 10 plus plays a weekend. It'll almost certainly be my most played game by the time this year is over, just because of how it's set up conveniently, just in a way that I constantly am tabling it. Anyways, that was basically Saturday. On Tuesday, we had a review for Knitting Circle. Knitting Circle from Flatout Games, one of my least favorite Flatout games so far, at least from their games in that series. Although it's hard to say because Fit to Print is definitely one that started off a little higher for me, but did go down over time. Just the real-time nature of things. I find real-time always feels like a bit of a gimmick, and it does wear off for me, with the exception of Project Elite. But past that, Knitting Circle is another point-scoring adaptation game from it's a Calico game, but it's really just a Calico-themed game. No similarity in the actual gameplay, but basically you're going to be drafting various knitting tiles in order to build various garments. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 out of 5. It's not bad. It's just less fun than some of the other games they have that are more fun. That's how less fun and more fun work. Then I had a gameplay of Fungi Contest, just a gameplay with myself, Meg, and AP, going through a gameplay of Fungi Contest. Hard to give genuine thoughts on this game. I mean, no, I can give my genuine thoughts on the game is it's not a game for me, but it's hard to really grade Fungi Contest has a few things going for it. First of all, the prototype rules were not great, and so to this moment, I still am not 100% clear if we played things correctly, because a lot of situations just weren't covered in the rules, and we had to kind of make up things as we go. And so that happens sometimes, especially with prototypes. It's the nature of doing a gameplay around a game, and then finding out all these questions that just weren't in the rules and weren't really addressed. So it's hard to gauge it because of that. That said, past that, I just don't think it's my type of game. It's very much rolling dice generically to try to go ahead and activate bonuses in center grid. I think they do have an interesting concept going on of rolling into a grid and scoring where the dice are there, and then being able to upgrade your own tableau. So in that sense, it's interesting, but it's definitely a little too chaotic and a little less strategic for me personally. So Fungi Contest, not a game for me. Then lastly, Lastly, on Tuesday, we had a Lastly, on Tuesday, we had a review for zeroday.exe, which unfortunately I just saw the campaign canceled apparently, so that's unfortunately not currently live, but it will be coming back to crowdfunding at some point early next year. But zeroday.exe was a game that I overall enjoyed many aspects of it. There was some aspects that didn't feel as polished as I would like, but in general, the sheer amount of powers and abilities and upgrading, I would say it's a very strong game. I just don't know if it's going to beat out other games for me when I have that many games. Like the main problem I have with it is that the best thing about it is the sheer amount of upgrading you get done in a single session. And I think I'd rather play Deliverance every single time in that genre. I like zeroday.exe. I think it's good. To me, this is one of those times where I'm just bogged down by other games that are calling my name and sometimes doing it better. And in the case of Deliverance, I think Deliverance is more my jam. They're not exactly the same because I think zeroday.exe is a little bit more focused on the dungeon crawler aspect versus Deliverance is more of a skirmish game. But if you do dive into some of the scenarios especially from the Council of the Fallen expansion, that definitely changes things up. So Deliverance, a solid game, and zeroday.exe, very similar but a little less polished for me. Then we have Monarchs of Camelot. On Thursday we did a gameplay video of Monarchs of Camelot. That's one that overall I enjoyed it ish. I think the biggest problem there is the kind of, first of all, prototype rules again. So in general, I find prototypes sometimes are very clear, very easy to learn, and other times very much less so. In the case of Monarchs of Camelot, definitely some less so going on there. But I thought overall, I like the action selection. If you watch the gameplay, I like the action selection system where you're displaying cards to the left to the right, and that powers up your character. I like the unique goal puzzles you have as well. But I would say that very often I just felt stuck in terms of what the game is doing. I just felt stuck, like I couldn't do things, and that wasn't always a fun moment to have resources, but not resources I can use or benefit from. I think the system was a little less fluid than I would want. Just the ability to accumulate resources and not be able to guide them towards the features you need was less satisfying for me. So a game that has promised, but not one that I'm sold on yet. And then lastly, we had Restart. Restart, I did a full review on this past week, again on Thursday. And Restart is one that, there's a lot of things going on in Restart that I really enjoyed. Mainly the sheer amount of things you can do with cards, the multi-use cards, and the fact that you can be juggling where cards go, where they go on the grid, where they go on your personal board, which actions you're trying to upgrade, how you're building tableau. There's a lot of things that go really well in that game. But I did find the modules of the game to be a little more simplistic than what I'd be looking for. And then the aspect of trying to fulfill goals on a shared grid where other people can get in your way incidentally without even trying to, I didn't enjoy that. And so overall, it's weird because that's one where there was a point when I was like first diving into it, I was like, I really like this. This could be a 4 to 5. And then the more I played it, the more it shifted down to a 3.5 and then a 3. Again, ratings to me just indicate to a certain degree a desire to play. And once you move down to a 3, it's kind of like in the camp. Like a 3.5 is like a game that I want to play again, but I just don't have enough time. And not necessarily I don't have enough time, but I kind of want to play again, but very often will lose out to other games instead. Whereas once you move down to a 3, it's that I don't think I'm going to give you that much thought after. And I think after playing through Restart several times to try the different modules, I just think I'm at a place with it where I like aspects of it, and there are aspects of the game that I will miss, but the full package of the game, I don't think I will. So a 3 out of 5. And that's basically the games I covered this past week, which brings us to today. Today we're going to have a few things going up. We're going to have a gameplay for Royal Hospitals, or a preview. I have to double check. I think a gameplay going up for Royal Hospitals, and then also a unboxing for Draconis RPG. I know we just covered Draconis 8, but we will be covering a unboxing for Draconis RPG, which is a totally different game. There's Draconis 8, the TCG, and then Draconis RPG, a peaceful RPG dragon game that you should check out. And that's basically that. As far as and then next week's going to be a whole chock full of reviews. Next week is going to be all reviews all the way through. So if you're looking for a top 10 list, we're not going to have one. If you're looking for topical videos, not going to happen. If you're looking for a whole bunch of review and preview and gameplay coverage, that's what next week is, because apparently everyone and their mother wants to launch a crowdfunding campaign on October 22nd. So we're going to have a lot of gameplay and review and preview coverage going up throughout the next week. Anyways, until next time. Oh wait, games on the couch. I didn't do this last week, by the way. I forgot to do the games on the couch last week. But first of all, we are looking at Tend over here. I've gotten to play Tend twice now, and I still want to continue diving into it before I review it. I will say my second game was already much better than my first, but I still want to try. Here's the problem with the Tend. There's so many pathways in the game that I don't feel I'm close enough to being able to fully cover the game yet until I at least try all the main pathways. It's a very, very heavy, literally heavy roll and write from flip and write, roll and write. I guess a little bit of both, sort of. Not really roll and write, even though there's dice, more the flip and write. But anyway, a very heavy flip and write from IV Games, and it's growing on me. Pun intended a little bit, I guess. But either way, we'll talk more about it, but I hope to be playing it more this week before I review it. We have Super Fantasy Brawl Reborn, which just showed up. I'm excited to dive into this one. I have the rules, have not read them. I know how to play Super Fantasy Brawl, but I know they made changes to this one. I am sad that I don't have some of the cool things, like I don't have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pack. I thought they'd be sending that to me, and they didn't. So I'm just going to cover the base game, and we'll cover that for you at some point. And then we have this one, which I'm probably not diving into this week, which is Teneris Expedition Central Sea. It showed up. I am optimistic. I'm not optimistic. I want to play it this week, but between playing through all the stuff I have to play that's a little bit more time sensitive, I'm not as sure if this will make the table, but we shall see. And then lastly, we have Revenant over here. Revenant can be coming to you from Mind Clash Games, and this one I'm already mostly through the rules, and I'm kind of excited to play this. I think there's a lot of interesting things going on in this worker placement game. Plays across 4 rounds as you place your workers into ships, managing factions. Has small elements of... No, not really. No, it's different. Never mind. I was going to compare it to a game, but I don't think it's comparable. Either way, I'm excited to play Revenant, so we'll see how this goes. And I think that's going to be a wrap-up to our video, because we are now at the 15 minutes that I told you this would be. So until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoy your week, and I hope, as always, that you have a good one.